talking about. They will have a good time there.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How is everyone doing?
Doing well.
Everyone okay?
Yes.
Glad to hear it. I wanna see some flags. I want to see some flags in the chat.
Could you see my
Gotta
flag?
have some. I do. We gotta have some pride here.
My flag right here. I have my flag.
Wait. Let me see. Hold it up. Hold the flag up.
I don't. I have it on my backdrop.
Oh, okay. But your camera is off right now, so we might not be able to see it.
Okay. Oh, I need a little flag.
Yeah. Oh, I see Haiti. Haiti is heavy in the comments.
Yes, Haiti's here.
Haiti's here. I see Jamaica's here. Well, I just want to, okay, we have, all right now. All right, we got more flag. Oh, excuse me. Thank you from the very proud Asian on the call. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to kick us all off. So just a brief introduction to those who may not know me. My name is Rosalind Smith. I'm the founder of RJ Strategies, and this event has a very interesting origin in that I still remember the day that President Biden announced that he was going to be supporting Kamala Harris's candidacy. And that evening, there was a group of Black women that got together and had an impromptu organizing call in support of her candidacy. Okay, Trinidad and Tobago's in the comments. I love it. And so it was such an electrifying night. I was literally in the grocery store trying to do my shopping and just ended up, messing up at checkout because I'm like on the call with the legislators and the leaders from around the country. And I think that evening, like it went into like what, 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning. So that was really like the kickoff of her campaign. And I am ecstatic about the level of unity that she has brought to the Democratic Party through her candidacy. And so there were numerous calls that started to take place in support of her. I think they were like under the headings of different themes. And I had a very good friend who is based in Washington, D.C., who came to me and said, hey, why don't we plan a Caribbean themed organizing call for her campaign? And I said, I'm all in. But here's the problem. That was on a Friday evening, and the plan was for the call to take place on the following Thursday. So in less than a week, the first call came together, and I just have to just commend everyone that was a part of that. We have some folks on the line now that spoke at that event who really just brought a lot of energy. People came in their national colors, and it was a good time. And it's something that was so last minute and impromptu. But I was shocked when I got up the next morning because in addition to the 100 or so folks that were on the call live with us that night, the next day, the replay had over 800 views. And I was just blown away by the response from the community and folks saying that, that they wish they had been there and had been a part of it. So I'm just tremendously grateful for everyone that is here on tonight to be with us as we celebrate her candidacy. Of course, now we know she has a vice president candidate, Coach Walls, that has been really a great unifier, bringing that other parts of the country into the fold with the same level of enthusiasm and excitement that we have. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and kick off our program because we know we are people of faith, people who believe in a higher power. And I am honored to introduce to some and to everyone, Reverend Janelle Greene Smith, who is going to kick us off in a moment of prayer. So, Reverend Janelle, you have the floor.
Thank you, Rosalind, and good evening, everyone. One love, peace, and blessings, and grace and peace be unto you. And please let us center our hearts and posture for a moment of prayer. Eternal and most gracious God, thank you for the day that you have made and for the mind and will that you have given each of us to work, to serve, and to mobilize in the focus of our nation's democracy and for our nation's freedom. Lord, we come thanking you for this time and season that we're living in to be a part of this historic and critical juncture in our nation. We gather with unity and collaborative spirit as members of the Caribbean diaspora, whose families have made this nation our home and have been active in service to her. God, we lift up President Joe Biden and this current administration. We lift up our Democratic presidential nominee, Kamala Harris, and Coach Tim Walz. We pray for everyone that's involved in this campaign, every organizer, every online organizer, strategist, and everyone that is involved from the greatest to the so-called least. God, we thank you for giving each person wisdom, giving each person protection, giving all of us special grace, even to continue on in this nation's work of doing our democratic duty. We pray for peace, we pray for wisdom, we pray for understanding. And God, we pray for this particular meeting tonight, that each speaker would speak with clarity and strength, and each hearer and participant would leave with insight and roles in terms of what to do so that we can move together as a unit, concerned about our various countries in connection to the nation, and also in concern with our living here and the work that we all have to do together. It's in your mighty name that I pray this prayer and lift it up. And I ask that all those who agree say amen.
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 Amen. Thank you so much, Reverend Janelle, for that beautiful prayer for unity and to guide our leaders at this very, very unique time in history. I'm so excited about everyone that's here today. I want to see some more pride coming through in the chat. Everyone, get excited. Oh, I see there's a lot of amens. That's good. That's a good sign for the evening. So reflecting on the first Caribbean diaspora event that we had, we featured a number of youth speakers that completely blew everyone away. And I am so grateful for the young people that are heavily involved in the campaign activity and on the ground, making sure folks are registered to vote, folks have a plan for election day to cast their ballots. And I want to just turn it over to Jasmine, who is the president of the Essex County Young Democrats organization, to give us some remarks. So Jasmine, it's all you.
Thanks so much for that, Rosalind. Can everyone hear me okay? Awesome. Well, thank you for
Yes,
that.
we can.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the amazing introduction to all of my Haitians. Bonsoir. Hi everybody.
Bonsoir, bonsoir.
Bonsoir, bonsoir. Ça qu'a fait?
Naboule, naboule.
Yes, I hope everyone is like super excited. I'm super excited to be here with you all tonight. It is an honor to be amongst a panel of so many different speakers. I am the proud president of Essex County Young Democrats, as Rosalind had said. I'm Jasmine Metellus. I was born in Haiti. I'm from Port-au-Prince. And I live in Irvington, and that's where I still reside. A lot of my story is really impacted because I was raised by my grandmother. So a lot of why I even went into public service to begin with is because of my grandmother. So I'm just very excited to be here. I'm very proud to be here. I'm proud to be a Haitian. I'm proud to support VP Kamala Harris to bring this win in November. And with that said, Kamala Harris is our beacon of hope. I know when Joe Biden had dropped and stepped out of the race, so many people lost hope, right? We saw the debate. He wasn't doing that great. And I think even I can say as a young person myself, when Donald Trump was first elected, that was back in 2016, and I was a junior in high school. So as you can already see, I wasn't old enough to vote, already felt powerless. And I know I wasn't probably the only young person that felt really, disbarred from how Donald Trump got elected. Now in 2024, I know all of us are really determined to bring that home, that win home, making sure that VP Kamala Harris is elected. And with that said, now we see that there's a significant change in dynamic. And now that our age group, especially Gen Z, those are age that are like 18 and older now, we're able to vote and we can actually make the shift happen. I will say, even though a lot of people have told Joe Biden to drop, I believe our age group also played a significant part into that. And with that being said, Kamala Harris's policies are super impressive. And now that we're starting to learn more about our VP, I would also like to talk about the Biden-Harris humanitarian parole program. So a lot of people know that this program was specified for immigrants from Haiti, Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua, because these countries were also going through a lot of different gang violence, just a lot going back home. And with that being said, one of the main reasons why I'm very proud to support Kamala Harris is because she believes that your upbringing shouldn't have to determine such a negative outcome of your life. A lot of us, we don't choose the cards that we're dealt with. We just pretty much have to choose what we have to do every single day. And I believe that VP Kamala Harris is really here to make sure that every American, and also including people from back home, should have a second chance to win at life. And with that being said, with young people now being able to vote on this year's ballot, this is a significant change. And just to tell you a little bit more about our county chapter, we are actually under the New Jersey Young Dems. And Essex County Young Democrats, we really do support, mobilize, and organize across the county. So with all 22 municipalities, pretty much we focus on ages from, and we do have a high school caucus as well. So if you have children, they are more than welcome to join as well. But a little bit more about our organization, we do focus on the ages of 14 to 40, making sure people have a reason to come out to vote. A lot of the time, and especially when Gen Z, we feel as though that our voices are powerless, we have no say-so. But with that being said, this time we actually have the change to make it happen. So I'm proud to really support VP Kamala Harris, and let's bring this win home as young people. And with that being said, we have so many different events and meetings that are coming up. So Ashlye, this Tuesday, and I'm pretty sure everyone is aware, but we have the presidential debate. We have a watch party that we're doing with Essex County Dems, and we would love to see all of you there. And I'll also make sure we drop the links and stay connected. So thank you so much again for tonight. I'm so excited to hear from everybody else, and I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jasmine. Thank you so much for being here and for all that you do. Could you just let us know, for folks that want to stay in touch with you, how do we stay in touch with you?
That is a great question. So I will drop my contact information in the chat. I'll also drop my personal mobile number. So you feel free, please text me, call me, because we need as many people to make sure that VP Harris is back in the White House. Not as our VP, but Madam President. And she's going to be the first. And this is very monumental. And especially also even coming from Haiti, which is the first Black nation to be freed, I think this is even more exciting.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so very much for your remarks and for being here and the work that you do. So, in the process of planning today's event, I was referred to a lady, our next speaker, who is no stranger to advocacy, no stranger to service and being in touch with the community, and a true just beacon of light and of hope, and I think a real voice that represents us well and authentically. So without further ado, I want to turn over the program to Miss Vicki-Ann. Miss Vicki-Ann, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Rosalind. It is a great pleasure to be here. I'm already fired up by Jasmine. You know, that young generation is the one that we're really looking to give us some more energy. That's what we need. And I'm just thrilled by this Harris Waltz campaign. We, the people of the Caribbean, come from every people and culture on this planet, and we know how to celebrate, not denigrate different ways of being. Despite the vagaries of our history, Caribbean people know what it is to welcome a neighbor and a neighbor's friend. We deeply understand that trust grows through relationship, and we are the ones bringing these qualities to this historic campaign. I want to share a little bit of my own personal backstory. My dad left Trinidad in the early 1940s, headed to Kamala's alma mater, Howard University in Washington, D.C. He didn't know a soul. He boarded a segregated train in Miami, and by the time he reached Washington, D.C., he had a job and a place to stay. And that is because of the kindness and caring of the neighbors on that train. And you know, our vice president, that's what she said. When we look at other people, we must see a neighbor. And I can't leave out, of course, that he met and married a pretty Jamaican girl who was my mother. So Kamala and Tim are challenging us to be a part of the strong network of communities committed to creating that opportunity economy once again. I am not sure that my dad would succeed today the way he could 80 years ago. This campaign is asking us to create some deep mangrove-like roots that can slow down the destructive hurricanes and chaos and mistrust wrought by those gremlins on the other side. And when I think about remarks about becoming, I always say, well, we're not becoming colors, but we should becoming more human and more humane. For the opportunity economy to manifest, we need healthy people, and this is my area of advocacy. We need healthy people, we need knowledgeable people who are fed by clean and nutritious food, who are nourished by unpolluted air and water. People who can breathe freely, understand freedom. We must think clearly and act positively. We must grow our food more sustainably and nearer to us. We have to take our mental, physical, and spiritual health seriously. We must make sure the agencies charged with protecting our food and our health are held to the highest standards of integrity and independence. I'm involved in many sustainable communities, the Sustainable Communities Network, Black Farmers, Saving Seeds, Slow Food International, and the Wellbeing Economy Alliance. All of these organizations are united by their passion and determination to improve both the inner and outer health of people and communities. And as a social entrepreneur myself, I founded a farmers market in Trinidad where we educated people, the general public, children, and farmers about how to grow and how to eat. And I have to shout out VP Harris's proposed tax incentives to spur small business creation. It's really important, guys. We have to help her to get there so that she can do this. Caribbean immigrants have always been entrepreneurial, as have many other immigrant groups. Small businesses are the foundation of the opportunity economy, and they will no doubt boost Caribbean U.S. trade and investment. So I can't argue, we can't argue other people into a change of heart, but we can show people by our actions that building community is the oldest and best form of healing, and from that healing comes prosperity. Kamala and Tim understand that this is their leadership moment, and fortunately, they are sharing it with us. Together, we must ensure that our impact lasts long after this election. We treasure the promise of participatory democracy. We say an absolute no to plutocracy. So as VP Harris, soon to be President Harris says, let's get to work. And that's what it's going to take, work. Thank you very much, everybody, for your kind attention. I'm delighted to be a part of this. Thank you, Rosalind.
Thank you so much for your comments, and you're absolutely correct. We cannot build communities if we are not well. So thank you so much for your contribution to tonight's program. And it's interesting, when I first met you, you said something I had never heard before, but I like it. You described yourself as a Trini-Macon, right? Of both Trinidadian and Jamaican descent. I like that. We are definitely, as a diaspora, of a mixed group of people. And I am just so glad that so many different nationalities and cultures and dialects are represented on tonight's call. Our next speaker, I consider to be a good friend of mine who has an amazing ability to bring folks together and has been a unifier, I think, within Northern New Jersey. And I know that he is rising and going to be able to do incredible things going forward. So without further ado, I want to bring on East Orange City Councilman Leneus. How you doing? Representing Haiti. Mr. Berg, if you're on, we can't hear you. Oh, it looks like we're having a little technical difficulties. All right, well then we're going to come back to Mr. Berg then. We're just going to keep rolling on. So I have a little short story about our next speaker. I had the opportunity to attend the DNC in Chicago. And on the fourth night, the last night, I was in a lounge watching all of the people speak, and eventually VP Harris accept the presidential nomination. Within this space, I kept making eye contact with a certain lady, but we didn't say anything. And I just, maybe towards the very end of the night, just finally walked up to her and complimented the fact that she had on this fly color block, white and green suit. And I just, from there, we really just hit it off, and I loved her incredible energy. And one thing I admire about her is that she introduced herself. I'm Ashlye, and I'm from South Carolina. It wasn't until I was trying to put this event together and bring different speakers together that I learned, so much about her background, doing leadership training as a motivational speaker. And so I'm honored to introduce her and to have her as a part of tonight's program. So Dr. Ashlye, I'm turning the floor over to you.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here. I want to start with a quote from our Vice President Kamala Harris, and it says, "The American dream belongs to all of us. Every single one of us have the right to have and to realize the American dream. It's not reserved for just a few. It's not reserved for specific people or certain people, but all of us have the right to have the opportunity to realize and actualize the American dream." It's such a pleasure to be here with you all this evening, because I firmly believe in our ticket for the next president and vice president of these United States of America. As my slide indicated, I am the youngest and only woman of color to serve on a university board of trustees here in the state of South Carolina called Winthrop University. And for nearly 13 years, this is my 13th year of service, I've had the opportunity to serve in this capacity and advocate for people and express the concerns and the lived experiences for people who would not otherwise be included in the decision-making process. It's something that I don't take lightly. It's something that I've committed to, and it's something that I've been extremely passionate about. In this role, I had the distinct honor, pleasure, and privilege to interview then Senator Kamala Harris during a visit at Winthrop University. This is a televised town hall experience with over 600 attendees on CNN and MSNBC. And during that moment, I had the opportunity to pose questions to her that mattered most to our constituencies, our students, our families, our faculty and staff, and our community overall. During that time, I had the opportunity to ask questions pertaining to education, higher education, student loan debt, predatory lending, crippling impacts of debt on families, particularly families of color, first-generation students who are usually families of color, as well as students below the poverty line who are also usually families of color. And during that interview, she spoke with power, with passion, with conviction to the injustices that we all see and face in society, in policy, as we are in pursuit of that American dream. She expressed the understanding of knowing that not only does it exist, it's not fair that it exists, and that we have to continue to fight against something that she's been committed to and will continue to be committed to as she serves the people. She always states that everything she does is for the people. And so now we have the responsibility, we have the honor, we have the opportunity to be a part of the process, to ensure that the people in the White House will reflect the people, all of us, our concerns, our challenges, our dreams, our goals, our desires. We have the task to not only take ourselves to vote, but to encourage our families, our friends, our children, our sphere of influence.
Thank you.
To develop their voting plan, to make sure they have the day, the time, the transportation to get to exercise their vote. Ask them, hey, when do you plan to go vote? Do you have transportation to go vote? Do you need assistance voting? Have you checked your voter registration to make sure that it's active, that it's up to date, that it hasn't been purged? This is our time. She's doing it with her counterpart, Coach Watts, for the people, and the people have to do it for them as well. We are those people. We are the people on the front lines. We are the ones that are now accepting the charge to take action, to move, and as she said, to do something. Michelle Obama said in her speech, we have to get involved. We have to stay engaged. We have to be able to speak to our family, friends, and loved ones about the policies that matters the most to us. We have to take the time and the diligence to read about the things that are impacting us on a day-to-day and to share how she plans to address those things when she's in office. Sometimes we have to go the extra mile to ensure that the people we know, the people who listen to us, the people who learn from us, they have the information that we've taken the time to fact check, that we've taken the time to digest, so that we can explain it, so that we can share it, so that they too can be more informed. I'm charging all of us, each and every one of us, have something that we can do. We have something that we can give. We have an opportunity where we can volunteer. We have moments where we can contribute and donate. We all have to fight for, be involved in, pursue, and maintain and nurture that American dream. We all have to join the fight for the people. Thank you so much for having me, Rosalind. It's such a pleasure to be here, and I enjoyed the opportunity.
Thank you so much for being here and sharing your unique, up close and personal interaction with VP Harris. Everything that you said echoes what I've heard from different people just about her presence and how she really listens and her empathy. So I just thank you for sharing that, and thank you for everything that you're doing to help her win in November. And so I'll ask that you, as well as the last speaker, Miss Vicki-Ann, if you all would just let people know how they can stay in or get in touch with you. I'm going to start with you, Dr. Ashlye, and then Miss Vicki-Ann, I'll just bring you back on just for you to say, you know, how people can stay in touch with you.
Absolutely. Would love to stay engaged. The best place is on LinkedIn. So if you're on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, Ashlye V. Wilkerson there. And you can also email me at ashleybwilkerson@gmail.com. I look forward to connecting with you.
Yes, people can reach me exactly the same way. You can get in touch with me on my LinkedIn page, message me. You can send something to vicky.assevero@gmail.com. Looking forward to hearing from all of you. gonna go down to Washington to the Black Caucus in a few days too, and raise some more money.
I will also be in Washington, D.C. next week for CBC and very much looking forward to it. So I just want to take a pause because Councilman Berg is back, and I think he's really proud of who he is and where he's from. And I think he wants to give us some energy. So I want to bring Berg. Berg, are you ready? Are you ready to rock and roll?
Ready, willing, and able.
All right. Well, we're gonna have you on. We're gonna just kind of take a few moments for everyone to stretch. We've heard some speakers, so we're gonna take 10 to 15 seconds to stretch, drop some flags in the chat, and have a very good time. So let's do it. Berg, show us the way. Yes. Okay, Haiti. I see Guyana. Guyana is heavy. Guyana was heavy on the last call too. Steve had his family on the call that was actually in Guyana. Oh, I see. We got DR. It's funny. I'm proud to be Jamaican, but I do live in the Bronx, and I had a friend who told me that I was Dominican by association. So I don't know if any of you all have friends out there like that, or if you've given people passes or cards to be able to claim your country. I saw Puerto Rico in the chat. Okay, I saw Rev, our proud Bayesian. Yes, another proud Bayesian on the call. Trinidad. I am loving it. All right, Berg, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
It's so good to see my family on the call. I see Jasmine, Metellus, and Virginie Pierre, Haitians representing. And to everyone, my name is, GT Massive all day, exactly. My name is Bergson, Leneus. I'm a councilman from the great city of East Orange of Haitian descent, proud Haitian descent, unapologetically Black, unapologetically Haitian man, who is also a proud father of 3 beautiful girls, who are, of course, of Haitian descent as well. And it is not lost on me, the history that we're on the precipice of witnessing. I believe it was the 19th Amendment, and through the ratification that, women were allowed to vote. But because of Jim Crow laws and because of literacy tests and things of that nature to try to disenfranchise women, I believe Black women weren't allowed to vote until 1965 through the Voting Rights Act. And so to stand here in 2024 and to be again on the precipice of greatness, to have our first woman of Jamaican descent elected to office is exciting. My family and we are so proud of her. We are excited for her, and we're claiming it. And we are going to rally, and we are going to do what we have to do to ensure that she is victorious on November 5th. And I recently had an opportunity to visit Jamaica with my life partner. And through that process, we were in Montego Bay, and we had an opportunity to visit the slave museum in the square, and the Sam Sharp Slave Museum. And so to understand, and I always have a practice of anywhere I go, I always try to visit museums and try to understand the culture of the people. And to understand the culture and the resiliency and the fight of the people through the legend of Sam Sharp. And for all my Haitian brothers and sisters, Duty Bookman, who's also of Jamaican descent. And so to understand the Jamaican heritage, Jamaican culture, the Jamaican people, and everything that they've gone through, and how they've they fight and they rise and they do everything with excellence, it's no surprise that our first female president is going to be of Jamaican descent. And so everything that we're doing in the city of East Orange is to support her. I just want to bring awareness, and I'm going to ensure that my family, my girls, my son, my parents, the Haitian community overall in the city of East Orange is lockstep with, VP Harris as she ascends to presidency. And we're going to do that through calls. We're going to do that through door knocking. We're going to do that through ensuring that people are registered to vote, educational seminars. We have a big watch party coming up next week as well. Through that watch party, we're also going to have discussions. Jasmine and I are co-sponsors on that. Along with the Essex County Democratic Committee and the West Orange Democratic Committee. And, we're just going to continue to push the agenda of Kamala Harris, and to ensure that she gets through and that she's successful. I'm always of the mindset that no person or persons are beyond reproach or beyond accountability. And so, we have to ensure that we develop an agenda as Black and Brown people that's going to support our causes as well. And I'm confident that with her in office, that we will get those things accomplished, whether it be, women's reproductive rights, whether it be, reducing the recidivism rates, supporting, Black and Brown businesses, foreign policy with regard to immigration and other things that are paramount right now that are taking place across the world. I know that through this administration, through the Harris administration, that we will be able to achieve those things. And, we just want to be in the forefront of that. And so right now, it's a time to fight. Right now, it's time to get her in. And once we have her in, it's about holding her accountable and ensuring that she, lives up to the promises that she made to our people. And, I'm just excited about it. So, Rosalind, I thank you for the call, the opportunity to speak. I thank you for putting this together, because I know for a fact that it's not easy trying to galvanize people and getting people on one accord. And you do it so eloquently. I love the Greene, by the way. And, to see all of these heavy hitters on the call, and I was on the previous call as well, listening, and to see everyone that you're putting together. You are a true champion for us and our community. And, I'll follow you to the ends of the earth and, lockstep with you as well. And, go Jamaica. Thank you.
Berg, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you were able to join us today, and for your kind words. And it's interesting because I retold the story about how this forum even came together, and it was an impromptu thing, and I never expected that I would wake up the next day after that first call and that so many people would be watching the replay and be asking for me to do it again. And it's interesting, some of the conversations I've had with other speakers and attendees about the fact so many of us throughout the Caribbean diaspora, we may have our organizations that are organized through nationality, but what would it look like to bring the entire diaspora together to organize something under one roof? And I know there is a speaker later that's going to talk about that, because we know that there's power in numbers. And I think as a people, to your point, Berg, we have to know what we want. We have to be able to articulate that. And so I actually, my next speaker, it's a really good segue. He is a policy advisor in the U.S. House of Representatives. And I'm very excited to have him a part of today, because I know that we get excited about candidates and then forget how the sausage actually is made once someone wins their seat. You know, it's not just the person at the top. There needs to be state and federal and local people that are supporting a unified policy agenda in order for anything to get done. And so I want to introduce to everyone Mr. Numa, who is also very proud to be of Haitian descent. I
That's
am
right.
glad to have him on this call today. And I know that he is going to give us some very, very good information to think about and to take back with us after this call. And I think it's important when we do these things for folks to be able to just articulate what it is exactly we're trying to accomplish. And so he's in the space every day. I want to turn it over to you, Numa, and I know you're also kind of a hype person. You know, I'm thinking maybe you can help us bring some more liveliness onto the
Hey,
call.
I want to start off by saying thank you, Rosalind, for convening us. This is such a great opportunity. It reminds me of Eastern Parkway during Labor Day when I see all the flags, all the West Indian folks coming together. It's such a great opportunity to be here with you. And I just want to say that I'm super proud of all of us. We're all in this together. And I like to remind my folks that the boat just made different stops. We're all the same. We're all from the same people and whatnot. And it's absolutely important that we have a common agenda, a common mission. I'm actually traveling right now, but it was so important to me to be here with you to talk about the importance of this election. I'm really happy to see so many great leaders be part of this conversation that are energized, that are enthusiastic about the prospects of the VP becoming the first woman president. As the councilman said, she is one of us, so we have to hold her down, right? We have to hold her down. But beyond her being of West Indian descent, there's so much at stake in this election. Everything that we care about is actually in the ballot, right? Our values, when we talk about women's rights, civil rights, education, right? Everything that we care about as a community is at stake. We have folks that are trying to take us back on the notion that to make America great again, and that's fluid language. We know what that actually means, and we want to go forward. We want to go forward to empower our communities, to make sure that the future is equitable, is fair, and reflect the issues that we care about. And I think VP Harris has a history of advocating for the marginalized, for women, for criminal justice reform, things that are of great import to our community. And that is why I'm supporting her. And I want to say that we all have a charge. It's not enough that we are supporting VP Harris and Coach Walls, but we have to sort of like bring right? There are various ways that we can help make this ticket successful in November, be it volunteering, donating, door knocking, canvassing. We have so much at stake. There are people literally working day and night to repress our rights, our freedoms that we work so hard to obtain, and then literally trying to make us go back to a period of time where we are second-class citizens. And we can't let that happen. And one of us is standing against that. One of us is the one that's going to prevent that from happening. So I think it behooves us to be engaged, right? If you're not at the table, you're in the menu. So we have to be engaged. We have to be part of the process. So I'll be short. Thank you, Riles, for putting this together. I'm so honored to be a part of such an esteemed group of folks that are West Indian descent, proud folks. So we know our history. We know that we've done so many great things in terms of contributing to this country. The trajectory of this country has been shaped by our ancestors. And once again, we're at the forefront to change history. and to make this country what it can be, make it reach its full potential. And one of us is at the forefront to make that happen. So I'm super proud of her, and I'm super proud of every one of you for doing what you're doing. And I want to play my part, right, in terms of helping us get there. I am from Philadelphia, via New York, and in Philadelphia, obviously, Pennsylvania is a battleground state, a critical state. So we are doing all that we can do, because we know that Pennsylvania essentially, to a large extent, might decide the election. So the Haitian community and PA is galvanized, is organized, is mobilized, and want to make sure that our next president is Madame Harris from the West Indies, from Jamaica. We're going to all my Jamaicans. Sakpasi Haiti. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Numa. And you know, it's interesting because when I'm going to put you on the spot, because there's a lot of talk out there about Project 2025, and it is like 1,000 pages, and we know folks don't necessarily have time to comb through 1,000 pages. But it's interesting, when we talked initially about this event, and you know, you were explaining to me different work that you've done, and I said, oh, and you're from Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. And then you said brotherly love and sisterly affection. So I feel as though, you know, if you can keep a staunch feminist like myself on my toes, I think you are probably one of the most qualified folks tonight to just give us a snippet about what Project 2025 is, why we should be paying attention to it this election cycle.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. Project 2025 is essentially a document that's been produced by the most conservative entities in the United States to shape the next Republican administration. It is a wet dream of right-wingers to essentially carve out a right-wing government that is pushing for policies that I think will be detrimental to our interests as a group, as a people. They're talking about doing away with the Department of Education. And as West Indians, we know how much value and emphasis we put on education. That will obviously be very problematic. You talk about human rights, you talk about voting rights, you talk about a whole host of stuff that they're trying to undercut, that is diametrically opposed to our interests. You know, there are issues around a woman's ability to control her own body is at stake. There are issues around doing away with agencies that protect our rights, our food. And it's essentially a document to place personnel and key positions in the federal government that will roll back policies that would essentially curtail our rights in this country. So, like you said, Roz, it's a lot of pages to read, to comb through. The short story is it's a document that would essentially undercut our values and our progress in so many different ways, from civil rights to human rights, voting rights, women rights, etc. And I'm happy to send over a snippet, a short document that really does a good job in terms of summarizing what's at stake in this election cycle.
Numa, thank you so much for that. And please do send that document over. And what I just, I see that we're having some dialogue in the chat about people, you know, being active and educated about how to get involved because of everything that you just stated that's at stake. And so I think campaigns have evolved and have been leveraging technology to expand their reach. So I want people to know that even if you are sitting in a very blue state, or a state where you think that the Harris-Walz ticket will get a majority or all the electoral votes, just know that the organizing calls that are happening all over the country, you could be sitting in New York and doing text banking or phone banking into battleground states like Pennsylvania. Like we saw that in the last cycle, Arizona went blue, but it was very close. So, in these states where there's a very small margin for winning, we have the technology now to get involved, even if we are not geographically co-located. And so the website that I think is the most comprehensive is go.kamalaharris.com. And what you do is you just put in your zip code, and a whole list of things that are happening locally will come up for you, and just know that the reach of various activities, it will be beyond just your immediate community. However, I do want to say for our communities, because we don't want to take anything for granted. I was watching Fox earlier today because I like to always like keep a broad perspective, and what I observed is former President Trump is already starting to say that if Kamala Harris wins, it means that she cheated. So he's setting up a dynamic to have a January 6th repeat, the desecration that we saw at our nation's capital, and the rioting and thuggery that occurred. So, I think we've seen the playbook, and similar to what President Obama had said at the DNC, right? We know that the sequel to a lot of movies or horror films is a lot worse than the first one. So we want to make sure that we stay ahead of that, and that it will be unequivocally clear who won this election. And so to that end, I know we've heard a couple of speakers come through. I think I saw a comment. I think I saw a comment about that we needed a little music. And you know what? I agree with you, because our culture, we are people of the sun, we are people of the light, and I think we just need to take just a quick stretch break. We need to drop some flags in the chat, and just show some pride. So we'll have a little quick interlude for folks. Okay, I see Jamaica is heavy. Uh-oh, where's the chat? Folks in the chat? Oh, I see, okay. I still see we have a lot of folks in the building. Haiti is heavy. Let's do this. Guyana, I'm loving it. Come through. Jamaican, and is that the Puerto Rican flag or the Cuban flag? I think that's the Cuban flag. All right, Cuba, let's go. Yep, I got it right. Thank goodness. My father's on the call, so Daddy, you know that you sent me to a good school. Trinidad. Let's go. Oh, okay. So I have a comment here that I want to read. And I want to just pause before we go to the next speaker, because this question is timely, and it's from Steve, who's representing Guyana. He says, I've been talking to my male counterparts from the Caribbean, Some of them believe because she is a woman, Kamala cannot win the presidency. When I get into policies and break it down to their kitchen table, it makes sense. My question to them is, what do you want for your daughters, her dreams, her aspirations, her choices? I have them answer those questions and ask them to listen to themselves. We have to do some work on our Caribbean men. So if there is a speaker, even if you have not spoken yet, that can directly address this perception that just because of her gender, that she won't win. Please I want to hear from you. And I know we have some very, very articulate, educated speakers on the line that have even run for office themselves. Is there anyone that can speak to the unique challenges running for office as a woman?
I tell you, this is Patrick Reid. As a Jamaican, I often have some of these conversations at my Domino Club meetings when we get together to play, and it's primarily men. And you know, it is stunning sometimes that these conversations come up when you have a seminal moment such as this one, where we have the opportunity to elect the first woman president, who happens to be a Black woman of Caribbean descent as well. And I always say to them, I mean, I have two sons, they're in their 20s, and I'm hopeful that soon I'll be a grandfather. It seems that it's going good in that direction. And I said to them, you know, I don't want my grandchildren to ask me what I was doing at this time. Ask me, what was I doing during the election of Kamala Harris? I don't want to tell them that I missed the moment. And I think that's the message I try to leave with them. This is a historical moment, and we cannot afford to base our our response to this on the gender issue. It is more than a gender issue, and much more than a gender issue. It's a historical moment. So I try to leave that with them, and hopefully, it has an impact. I see that it does have some impact when they think about their legacy and what their children would benefit from such an election as this one. And so that's how I calmly try to approach it. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your commentary and for being an advocate, an ally in this space. Is there anyone else, whether you were a featured speaker or not, that just wants to address this notion or this ideology that she's simply not going to win because she's a woman?
Hi there.
Hi there, Dr. Monica.
Yes. I'm listening patiently, and I was born in Guyana, so I'm also a Caribbean woman. But, I am based at the United Nations, and at the United Nations, you have 13 out of 193 women that are heads of state. But this is our time, and the reason why she's going to win, because the world has witnessed a different temperature on gender equality in the last couple of years. And it is now America's turn. And not only the women of America, but the population of America realize that it's time not only for gender equality, but for human rights. And we look at the choices that we have, and her policies and procedure that she's campaigning on represent the people, not just one sector of the people, not just gender because she is a woman, but the people. And because of that, I know that she will win because of that, because it is the time for human rights and gender equality. And to fight for the people, and people realize that.
Dr. Monica, thank you. Thank you so much for that. I've had this conversation with a couple of people, and I've taken an unconventional approach to it. So and I know there's a lot of different belief systems represented on this call and throughout the diaspora, but there is a scripture, and I don't know if Reverend Janelle is still on to keep me honest, that says, "The first shall be last, and the last shall be first." And so I think at this critical time in history, when we're having expansive conversations about human rights, about equality, I mean, who better to lead us in that moment than a woman who is of Black and South Asian descent, because we know historically these are two. Oh, thank you, Reverend Janelle. Matthew 20:16. That's why I gotta keep the anointed close by, because they keep me straight. But I say all that to say these are two groups of women that have historically been marginalized, historically been fetishized and stereotyped in ways that are unproductive. Groups of women that have been just treated horribly. And so I think when you have that lived experience and have some of the ancestral context of who you are and what that means in various societies, because we know that anti-Blackness is a global thing. I think who better to lead in this moment than someone who has a perspective of what it is to be on the bottom. So without further ado, I want to bring up the next speaker, who also happens to be a very strong advocate of women. And I got to know Miss Lady Ira because we had State Senator Brittany Timberlake on the first call, and she gave strong words about the overturn of Roe v. Wade and other issues impacting women throughout the country. And when this person came through her, I said, of course, birds of a feather flock together. And so I have learned a lot about Lady Ira and her advocacy work and her concern for women who are going through the immigration process as we speak, and how often they're being mistreated. And so, Lady Ira, I am going to give you the floor to speak on the various issues. Miss Ira, if you're talking, you're on mute.
Okay, hi. Good night, everyone. Good night. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can't see you, but we can hear you.
Oh, you can't see me. Why?
Just turn camera on. Or it might say start video or stop video next to where your microphone is.
All right.
Oh, we see you. Oh, Guyana's in the house.
Yes, in the house all the way. Big up yourself, Roslyn. I know you want some vibes going on here, so I could do like that song, One Love, One Heart.
You know what? That's a see, I see you're multi-talented. I love it. Yes, you know what? we're gonna have you give your remarks, and then we're gonna play One Love. That's what we're
Yes.
gonna do.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. It's an honor to be here tonight to celebrate this remarkable leadership and dedication of our Vice President, Kamala Harris. As we gather tonight, I want to acknowledge the trailblazing spirit that has defined our Vice President Harris. From her early days as a prosecutor to the historic election of the first woman, the first Black American, the first Asian woman to be elected and to hold the office of Vice President. She has shattered glass ceilings and inspired countless individuals to pursue their dreams. So it's not just about women. She is one of our best at this time right now to hold that position and to become the president. She's a brilliant woman. She's not just a woman, she's very brilliant, and she's a leader, and she's ready to lead. And if you're ready, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, take the platform and lead. Throughout her career, Vice President Harris has been a champion for justice, equality, and opportunities. She had fought tirelessly to protect the rights of the marginalized community, to reform our criminal justice system, and to promote economic empowerment for all. As a vice president, she has continued to push the boundaries of what is possible, working to address some of the most pressing issues in our time, from climate change to healthcare. Tonight, we celebrate not only Vice President Harris' achievements, but also her unwavering commitment to public service. She embodies everything of a leader, and she's going to stand up to the opposition. She's going to stand up, and if she can stand up, let her stand. Let her stay there, and I'm with her. So let us draw inspiration from Vice President Harris' remarkable journey, and let us continue to push the boundaries of what is possible and to work together to build our future as Americans here in this country. But most of all, tonight, I want to talk about a group of women who are often overlooked, yet are the backbone of this country. I'm talking about the immigrant women. A lot of times, we as immigrants, as women, is being overlooked. We are women who leave behind everything in our country and come here, seeking a better life for our families. Work tirelessly. And I'm going to ask Kamala Harris when she wins to look into our immigrant women, to make sure that they have wages that they can feed their families. Because a lot of times women are being paid so low. And a lot of immigrant women, they're single. They take care of their household. You know, we come from the Caribbean. We have to send things back home. We're here working tirelessly to fulfill the American dream. So one of my real points is for immigrant women to have special care, look into our hard work. Immigrant women often face unfair treatment and lack of opportunities. We need those opportunities. As I said, we're underpaid, nearly making not enough money to pay their rents. So these are some of the things that when Kamala goes in there, she would understand what is happening globally, not just here in America, because people in this country are coming from all other countries to be here. America is made up of foreign people. And we have to take a look at the women, because women are leading. We're leading in the homes. Women are in the home by themselves, single, taking care of 3, 4, 5, 6 children, plus other families. So we need somebody to look into that part. And it's not acceptable. Immigrant women deserve to be treated with respect, dignity, and compassion. They deserve equal opportunity to succeed, to thrive, and to contribute to our society. We must recognize the value and contribution of immigrant women. We must provide them with access to education, job, training, and health care. We must protect their rights and safety. Let us celebrate the strength and encourage the immigrant women. Let us work together to create more inclusive and equitable society where every woman, regardless of their background, can reach their full potential. So tonight, as I know Kamala Harris is going to win, she's brilliant, she has zest, she's compassionate, and she deserves to win this election. My name is Lady Ira. I'm the president of the Guyana American Heritage Foundation. I'm the founding person of the Caribbean Family Fund Day, bringing families together. And my platform is Hope for the Children. And women is the point focus on children and family. So I would like the new president to look into families and put aside a special treat for immigrant women. Tonight, I want to thank you, Rosalind, for bringing me on. I want to thank the Senator, Brittany Timberlake, for inviting me to be on this program because she knows how I feel and she knows the kind of work that I do. I want to thank all my members from my organization who's on this program right now. Some of them is in the chat. Thank you for being there. Again, my name is Lady Ira, and I can be reached at 973-951-9898 or ladyira@aol.com. So I have an upcoming event on October 5th, our gala, and I would like all you guys to support us. Share our flyers, come to the event, and thank you, Rosalind, again for this platform. I feel very, very proud being a woman and I can be here with such a group of people. I feel special, and I know that all of you guys are special. Thank you for all your information. And as I continue to listen, I'm learning more and more. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Lady Ira, for being with us tonight and for your words of wisdom. I would say to you and every other speaker, if you have flyers, if you have events, if you have causes, just send it to me and I'm happy to distribute the information with tonight's attendees, as well as putting it under the replay of tonight's program. And we have no idea who's going to be watching the replay. So go ahead and just send me the information. I'll redrop my email in the chat. And Lady Ira, we got some one love action going on.
All right, that's good. Let's get some vibes going.
I want to see some flags.
Let's get together, feel all right. I'm playing to mankind. Give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel all right.
Come along, come along, come along.
Kamala, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank
welcome.
you.
You're welcome.
So I would like to introduce our next speaker. I had said I wasn't going to tell on anybody who might still be recovering from Eastern Parkway. But I have to say, when I spoke with Miss Diana, I was completely just blown away by her energy and enthusiasm. And someone said, I know who. Steve is busy outing people. I love her energy. She's also someone who has served at the state level with a body of work and achievements that are legislative. So she knows how the sausage is made. She understands what's at stake. and she understands the various apparatuses that make our local, state, and federal government. So I want to bring on Miss Diana Richardson.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. And Rosalind, let me just say thank you, girl. I am still tired and recovering, but I had to make sure that as much as we celebrate our Caribbean heritage every year on Eastern Parkway, waving a variety of flags, I am tired, but it is so important that we are here to mobilize the Caribbean diaspora for our girl, Kamala Harris. So Rosalind, I just want to say thank you for using your platform to gather all of us. Thank you to all of my family and friends who are watching and who are on the line. I see so many people from Brooklyn, New York, which is where I am from, on the line. Shout out to New York State Senator Roxanne Prasad, who's on the line. I see you, Roxanne. Shout out to District Leader Anthony Beckford, former District Leader Akel Williams. Steve Hemraj is one of my big friends. We are proud alumni of Medgar Evers College. Shout out to Medgar Evers College. Cheryl, I see you here. And so my brothers and sisters, it is time for us to get and to remain civic minded. We are literally 60 days away from a very critical election that is really going to shape the destiny of America. And our heritage has prepared us for this moment. It is the blood, the sweat, and the tears of the immigrant community that built this country. And it is going to be our blood, sweat, tears, energy, and our intellect that will move this country forward. And when we are taking a look around left and right, we know that everything is on the ballot. So let me just shout out to you, Lady Ira, because you already set the tone for me, okay? Lady Ira gave you the background of our sister Kamala. She spoke about what it is like to have an immigrant household. And so never forget that housing is going to be on the ballot. Healthcare will be on the ballot. Education will be on the ballot. Childcare will be on the ballot. Justice is on the ballot. Equity is on the ballot. And so we have to mobilize our community and using all of our communication tools to do so. I want to really focus on that and what we can all be doing in this time. I am in a blue state, New York State, but let us not take anything for granted and to rest on our laurels, because in a blink of an eye, anything can change here. I am encouraging everyone to make a list of everyone that you know locally and nationally, okay? And get on the phone, make a list, call people, make sure that they are coming out to vote, whether it is early voting. It was said before on the call, but it has to be said again. You need to make a voting plan. If you need transportation, reach out. If you have time, please give up your time. Please give up your time to volunteer. Believe it or not, today, I was so proud. I got a call from a volunteer from the Harris Walsh campaign from Virginia, calling me, asking me, how am I going to get involved? And so I told them about this call tonight. You can text bank, you can phone bank. I want to just give a nice shout out to 1199, who has been mobilizing buses. So get on the bus, figure out what you could do. If you're in a labor union, figure out what you could do. If you go to church, mobilize your church community, figure out what you can do. As our sister Michelle Obama said, and it was said, we all got to do something. And so, wait, let me just say that when I was in Chicago, the energy was really alive. And we cannot forget the time that we have been in America. And the truth is that there is a racism problem in America. And from time we got our first Black president, Barack Obama, we saw a bubbling up of a spirit that is like no other, one that looks unfamiliar to us of this particular generation, but very familiar to generations that are before us. Never forget, as Black people, as Caribbean people, that our history here in this country has not been an easy one. And while we may have luxury of freedoms today, there is still so much systemic racism that is alive. And so it is important that folks are checking their polling locations, that they are making sure that they are not being purged from the rolls, and that we are helping folks be activated and informed. And so to that tune, I don't want to stay very long, but I want to say that we are on a crunch time. We are on a countdown. Shout out to Medgar Evers College. Next week, there will be a debate watch party at 1650 Bedford Avenue. So please come out. Let's get it together. Again, Rosalind, I want to say thank you, everyone. Thank you and good night. It's time to get activated. We may not have it all together, but together we will have it all. As a Caribbean community, we are from many different islands, but never forget our unity is our strength, and there is only one Caribbean sea. This is not about our differences, but it's about our commonalities. And last, let me just also address this. As a woman who served in the New York State Legislature, as a woman who was the first woman to have this particular electoral seat, it is not easy to stand up. It is not easy to activate your voice. There's so many labels get attached to us as women when we activate and elevate our voice. But I say to all the women of power who are on this line, never stand down, never stand down. The power of the people is greater than the people in power, and your voice is needed. Now is the time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for everything that you said, and for your tenure in the state legislature and all that you have done to elevate people. I'm very familiar with the 43rd district here in New York, and oh, that's right. I know, gotta get excited. And so I just recognize we need people who are accessible. And so, and I know we've talked about Chicago a little bit and other folks that have been out there organizing. And I'm always happy when we hear people who are big, in the political sphere speak, right? But I wanted this event to be accessible to people in a way that sometimes it's not. And I have been to rallies where people were speaking in a way that just wasn't fitting, or it was stiff. It didn't feel like we were having a fluid conversation. So what you said about there being one Caribbean Sea and celebrating our commonality instead of our differences definitely resonated with me. And so I just wanted to open it up really quick. Does anyone have questions for former Assemblywoman Diana Richardson? Because I just think you bring so much to folks, and I know this is a very heavy New York crowd, and so I'm actually really curious. Did you ever feel that running for office that you had unique challenges that male identifying candidates do not? And if so, what were those challenges?
I absolutely did, Rosalind. Our district here in Central Brooklyn is very complex. We have so many different issues. In gun violence, I can definitely say is one of the main ones. And so going to the state legislature where it was very male dominated, me being a young Black woman, and the first woman, again, to have this particular seat, I was expected to be pretty and quiet. Now, you guys know I am pretty. Hello. Shout out to my mother who's watching. That was supposed to be a joke. But quiet I am not. And so as I would elevate my voice, I think, and for a lot of women, we get termed as angry Black women when your voice is strong. She's just talking too much. It's like these kind of characteristics that if a male was doing that, he would be seen as assertive, powerful, again, strong-willed. And when you're a woman and you are asserting yourself and asserting the issues, you're angry, you're a nuisance. And so I had to do a lot of mental health and mental just training of blocking out the chatter and really just focusing in on the community and the voices that were positive and the ones that amplified my leadership. And there is just a double barrier and for women. There's a lot of other nuances that are unseen to the civic mind of the constituency that happens behind the scene when the sausage is getting made. There's a lot of deal cutting that is happening. And often at times, the more affluent communities are the ones who come out on top. And so we don't come from a high socioeconomic community here in Central Brooklyn. And often at times we're expected to rock back and take the short end of the stick. You would see that in the form of inaction. You would see that in the form of allocation or reappropriation to funding. And so, it is not lost on us that there is a disparity across education districts here within the same county. It is not lost on us that where the shelter placements are happening in one particular community and they're not in another community. Housing is built in one community, not in a different community. I mean, all of this is happening geographically, it's happening politically. But I really, and again, as a woman having to amplify my voice and push back all the time and redirect and say, come again, okay? Redirect and come again, because the mighty 43rd Assembly District doesn't just accept anything. We are a people of power. And I want to just really pour into everyone who is listening tonight to remind you of who you are and the power of your vote and the importance of who you put in place to represent you. And that it does matter. It matters that you show up. It matters that you organize. It matters that you donate. It matters that you volunteer. And all of that energy that you give is always appreciated by all of the elected officials that are here representing not only just this particular community, our Brooklyn community, and our New York City, New York State community at large. And I encourage more young leaders to learn the electorate process, get involved and run for office. And I encourage you to also get a political mentor that can help you to navigate through the sphere. I've had some people around me, but not necessarily the type mentorship that I needed at some of the critical times. And I must admit, I was losing my mind, you guys, at different points of the process. But my heart never changed and never wavered. And I stood on business for this community, and I would do it all over again. And so now, as we are up against this critical election, I want to bring it back to our sister Kamala. We cannot forget that she too will be attacked in ways as a woman, okay? That a man would never be attacked. We're hearing her past relationships. We're hearing all kinds of nonsense coming out, and they would just never do this to a man. And we cannot let this happen to our sister. We must stand on defense. We must stand on the front line, and we must protect her. But outside of that, we have to mobilize so that this is a decisive win. And let me just say, after we take the victory, it should not be lost on us to create a Caribbean agenda and organize around that. It should not be lost on us to create a Black agenda and organize that. It should not be lost on us to create a woman's agenda and organize that around that, because without us getting organized, without us remaining civic minded, we are going to be lost. But I know that we can do it. We have done this time and time again. So again, I just say thank you. I know I went off, but yes, thank you.
You did. And I love it. I love your spirit and I love your energy and everything that you said. It just resonates and it tracks, because the experiences that you're describing about, having trouble finding a mentor, I think that that's true even in the private sector, right? women who are trying to move up, women of color, right, and Black women in particular, trying to move up through the ranks, they're not getting the level of mentorship and sponsorship that is required to be at a level of leadership to have influence. And back to what you're saying about some of these, stereotypes and worn out tropes about Black women, I've had DEI consultants tell me that they know for a fact Black men and women are not being given honest feedback. And so if you're not even getting the feedback that you need in order to improve your performance or to be viewed as having, these leadership qualities, it seems like the finish line is always moving, but for all argument's sake, if they say that you need to exhibit certain qualities, then they should, help the person get there. And I think there are great organizations. I know that I had someone from Higher Heights that was on the first call. I have a really good friend that has been doing massive fundraising with Emily's List. Like there's a lot of organizations out there right now trying to support and fund more women and women of color to run for office. So thank you so much for everything that you said. And you're right, they are going to come for her. But I think with this next little song interlude before we bring on our next or our last two speakers, like I believe that in order for us to win this, we're going to have to walk like champions. We're going to have to talk like champions, and we're going to have to really move the needle and get to work. So I want to see some flags in the chat.
Natural beauty, Yeah. No, I've never been someone shy.
Let me see some flags. Okay. All right.
Stop down and Chris. Out of his mercy. What's the done?
Where are all the champions on the call? If you're a champion, I want to see your flag. All right. Okay, Guyana. Okay, DR. Jamaica. Puerto Rico. Love it. Thank you so much. Thank you for your enthusiasm. So I want to introduce this next speaker who I really respect because I haven't known him that long, but from the conversation that we had in preparation for this event, I was given hope that there are people out there who are in the community that are interested in truly organizing and pushing forward an agenda for the Caribbean American community, and that are thinking about it in a very strategic way. And so the other piece of it, I think you never know who knows who. And so come to find out, we do some folks in common that we wouldn't have just ordinarily thought that we knew. And I'm just so glad to have him a part of this forum. So Patrick, I am going to give you the floor. Uh-oh, I think you're on mute.
Okay, great, fantastic. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, thank you very much and good evening, everyone. It is indeed a pleasure to be here. I come to this forum with great enthusiasm and much expectation going forward. And I say going forward because I look at this as a start and not just a one-time effort, as it should be a start. The essence of the Kamala Harris presidential run, and in my estimation, her presidency to come, is that we have moved the needle. We moved the needle when President Obama was elected. And again, once again, we have moved the needle in this country. It is not lost on me that the historical context that her election would place us in is, as a people, immigrant African Americans, Caribbean Americans, is that we are now looking at the first woman Black president, the first woman president of the United States having to be a Black woman of Caribbean Asian descent, following on not too far from the footsteps of the first Black president of this country in the presidency of President Barack Obama. That in its historical context puts us 60 years post Jim Crow in this country. And if you do the research up from slavery as a people, one of the fastest rise from slavery to leadership, presidency in our history, if you look at it. So it is a historical rise. And as I said before, we cannot miss this moment. It is impossible for us to sit on the sidelines and miss this seminal moment of electing the first woman president. Many thought it would not be a Black woman, but indeed here we are. And I don't want to spend time speaking about her qualifications. I think that is obvious. It's stated. It is clear that she's highly qualified to be the president of this country, and she's demonstrated leadership in so many ways that most men in the political strata have not accomplished. And so that shouldn't be our conversation. Our conversation really should be how are we going to make sure that she is the president? And then, of course, as with President Obama, learning from history, how do we make sure that she gets her agenda done at the elections pursuant to the presidential race? Because we missed that opportunity with President Obama, as you may recall. I speak on radio each and every Sunday, Roadblock Radio. I put it in the chat from 2 to 4 on roadblockradio.com every Sunday. And my program is called The Community Connection. And I started a program over 20 years ago because I always thought that we lacked a voice in the community. We lack a voice nationally as well. And we have an opportunity to amplify our voice with this election. And we have much that is of concern to us as a people and as a country, because I always tell Caribbean people, I define myself in this way. I'm African first. People chide me because I'm from Jamaica. I'm African first. I'm Caribbean second because my people are dispersed throughout the Caribbean. I'm Jamaican third, where I was born, land that I love, land of my birth. And I'm American fourth. This is where I grew up, I raised my children, and I work and so forth. And so it is of particular interest to me to see this election turn out the way we are all expecting it to. So I am very, very excited and elated to be in the company of Caribbean Americans who are of similar thought, that we need to get out there and change this paradigm, continue to smash the ceiling that we're all covered by, so that we can emerge victorious in so many ways. I happen to wear a few hats in the community. I always believe in galvanizing the community. That's one reason I co-founded the Jamaica Organization of New Jersey some 26 years ago, and work with Lady Ira to also raise up the Caribbean American Fund Day so we can celebrate our culture, but bring our children to a realization of who they are through cultural presentations. And it is critical that as Caribbean Americans, we now share the enthusiasm, share the information, and the expectation that we ought to stand up and be counted. I was having a conversation with the Essex County the state of New Jersey Democratic leader, Mr. Leroy Jones, this evening. And my conversation with him revolved around galvanizing the Caribbean American community in the state of New Jersey where we live. And the same can be said for New York, Connecticut, and all over the country. The Caribbean community has to get involved in ensuring that the candidates of our choice are elected, that we are represented at the local, statewide, and national levels. And if this forum can become the type of forum that I think it can be, we can spread that word. Right now, our task is to get out the vote. Get out the vote in our particular constituency through our friends, our families, and all those folks who are sitting on the sidelines, who are not registered, who I don't think their vote count, don't understand the power of the franchise. You know, when you become a citizen of this country, one of the most powerful gifts that you're given is the vote. And unfortunately, many of our Caribbean American folks do not take advantage
What's
of
up, Ron?
it. And
Good.
so it is, for me, it is so important at this moment that we emphasize and highlight this opportune moment. Feedback there. This opportune moment where we can spread the word that voting counts. Voting is important. Voting can get us our first woman, Caribbean American, Asian president in the White House in the United States. What a glorious thing that would be. How uplifting would that be for young people? And as I speak to my sons, my two sons who are in their 20s, about the importance of their generation getting involved. You know, our young people are not as involved as they should be. But he surprised and told me, he said, listen, my five Groove brothers and sisters are having voter registration drives and many campuses all around the country. And I was elated to hear that. So we have to encourage and motivate our young people to get involved in this process and to vote. Now, another hat as the president of the East Orange Chamber of Commerce, I'm elated to see my brother Berg here and Lady Ira here. Much can be had through her economic policies that she's putting forth. Kamala Harris is putting forth. You know, the tax incentive to spur small business growth is critical. As a realtor, I can see great benefits from having first-time homebuyer programs that can assist young homeowners to purchase their first home. So there's a lot in the Kamala Harris presidency that can be a benefit to our community, and we have to give it voice. It is going to be incumbent on all of us to go out there and spread the word, take our friends and family by the hand if we have to, get them registered, and get them to the polls to vote and spread the word. So I am truly optimistic about this. I'm optimistic and hopeful that this particular forum can be the genesis of an ongoing movement amongst us, right? I mean, I like the fact that we've come together and we're talking about the prospect of this presidency, what it can mean for us going forward. But I would really like to see us continue this. Rosalind, it is a tremendous effort. It's a tremendous initiative. And I hope that we'll all commit to staying in tune with each other with this drive, build it, and continue to galvanize our community to go out there and vote for quality representatives that can bring to us what we desire in our communities. That is my hope. So I want to thank all of you for being here. I am very, very enthused by what I've heard so far. I'm looking forward to future events and future working with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Patrick, for being a part of this event and for your kind words. And you know, it's interesting because I first did this because a friend suggested it. I never thought it would become what it is now. And I believe that all of our steps are ordered, and for anyone who's on the call that wants to be a part of an ongoing effort organizing the Caribbean diaspora. I mean, we have people from all over the country that have joined, and I think that it's important for us to keep this momentum and to keep the level of unity that we have now. And I think part of the other conversation I had with Patrick is making sure that we back candidates from our community in ways that are impactful. So I just want to thank you for being here. And thank you also for mentioning Chairman Leroy Jones. He is someone who has been a mentor and a friend to me for a long time. And I believe that whatever you shared with him from a leadership perspective did not fall on deaf ears. So I want everyone to get excited about our final speaker for the evening. All right, I want to see our last hurrah of some flags. Come on. I want where are my folks with the flags? Where's the pride? Oh, all right. All right, I see you. I love it. All right. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I see I have some folks that have been listening to Caribbean music for a long time. So I want to introduce our final speaker of the evening, who actually gave some remarks earlier with regard to misogyny and the challenges that come with being a woman in a very patriarchal world. And Dr. Monica Sanchez is just another one of those incredible people that have come into my path, that, you know, she introduced herself as Monica, and that, you know, she loves the community and she's an advocate. And so I am just really honored to have her here, because I know she has done advocacy at different levels. And I believe that I personally can learn a lot from her. And I hope that some of you out there who don't think that you can be an advocate will just take some notes and challenge yourself to really get out there, because this is our time to rise. So without further ado, our last speaker of the evening, Dr. Monica Sanchez.
Well, Rosalind, let me give you a clap for what a wonderful job you have done here tonight. It is really exciting. I hope my blood pressure doesn't go up when I get off this call, because I am so excited to say that I am excited about the nomination and the projection of us having the first female president of the United States, President Kamala Harris. It's an understatement. I'm really excited. I'm a strong advocate for gender equality and human rights with access to education at the United Nations platform. And tonight I'm really excited. I want to say shout out to Lady Ira Lewis, who is on the line. And I saw a lot of my colleagues on the line, so I'm not going to call everybody name. But I want to say that the one thing that is really, really important, Lady Ira on the line just had an event in New Jersey. And the reason why she's always successful with her event is because she continued to market, continue to talk, continue to have a conversation, continue to engage the community. And this is what we need to do as Caribbean people. We need, as grassroots people, we need to continue to talk, continue to engage, continue to spread the word, continue to talk to our neighbor. This needs to be just like we pick up our phone and check TikTok and all these other stuff. We need to continuously have this conversation. We need to encourage people. I know that many of my colleagues on the panel have said all of these things, especially my Assemblywoman. And so it is really, really important for us to do that. You know, the country is not only ready for our female president, but this is our moment in time. We have witnessed many, many, many other countries that have male dominant leaders. And being at the UN, there's only a 13% of 193 countries. When Iceland got their first woman president in 1980, no one believed that she could have won. And it was from 1980 to 1996. So I would say that Ms. Harris is overqualified for this job, but it's up to us now. We who have seen this country change in the last couple of years, we've noticed the gender movement, we've noticed the feminist movement, and we've seen how many policies it has affected. The gender movement in the past few years have made a shift in the acknowledgement of women and gender issue. Now with a Caribbean woman, an Asian woman, a woman who could identify on all aspects of the people, the grassroots people, we see her here now standing on this platform, and we have to support this platform. We have to get underneath this platform and hold it up so that it doesn't shake, it doesn't fall. We must be the voices that carry this whole thing, carry this this momentum. We are the ones who have to do this. My colleagues and I at the UN, and we are from every different nationality that you could think about. We have a movement that's called Grassroots Women for Kamala Harris. And you should see the excitement that is there. And what we do, we talk about this, we share information, we try to find out who knows, who doesn't know, what can help, what cannot help. But it's a continuous, everyday process that go on. You know, her social interest in her social issue, her position on topics like civil rights, voting rights, criminal justice, reform, education, and environmental protection are all topics that we can identify with. These are all issues that concern us. As a retired New York State Correction Officer myself, I am very pleased about the stance that she has on prison reform. We know that in December 2018, VP Harris voted for the First Step Act legislation, which was aimed at reducing recidivism rate among federal prisoners by expanding job training and other programs, in addition to forming an expansion of early release programs and modification on sentencing law, such as mandatory minimum sentence for nonviolent drug offenders to more equitable punish drug offenders. We know that as a person of color, many of our brown and Black men are incarcerated. This disrupts the family structure that, and we know, and we've heard this, that a tree is as strong as its root. As a single parent, that root is not strong. As a single parent, my colleague before said that there are so many women raising children in household by themselves without the man figure being present. If we are saying that the children are the future and we don't provide a future for them by raising them in these single and allowing our men to be incarcerated with no kind of process, and we see where VP Harris has that on her agenda to do that. We also see healthcare proposal around healthcare access, costs, insurance coverage, prescription, drug prices, public health initiative. As a two-time cancer survivor myself, this is a priority for women. You know, my colleagues and I, we talk about these issues every day. We are so fortunate as American women. I don't think that my Caribbean counterpart who is saying that, oh, she as a woman, being the head of America, the president of America, affects every country in the world, including the Caribbean country. So it is us right here now who must make a stand and make sure that she sits in the White House, because her presence there will change the world. It will change the world. It has an effect on, it will be a domino effect. Policy and procedure will affect every single country worldwide. What happens here in this election is going to affect every single country worldwide. I see a lot of my Haitian brothers and sisters on the call. Because of what is happening in Haiti, this is so important that she sits in the White House. And so the momentum for the vote must be one like we've never seen before. It must be like a tsunami. We have to get out there and get out the vote. I have an organization called Miss Carcom International Foundation, and we're celebrating 20 years, but it's about culture, it's about community, it's about our people, it's about access to education, it's about equality, gender equality, and human rights. I myself have my story on Amazon. I'm a child of a child. My mother was only 12. So I advocate very strongly for young girls. But it's not only happening overseas, it's happening right here in America. And having a woman as president who can empathize with these issues, who can address these issues, is more than important. It's beyond important. So this is the moment. We cannot let this moment pass. This is our time in history. It's like seeing a shooting star, and we must get out the vote. I cannot say it enough. We must get out the vote, get out the vote. Every September, as you may know, it's General Assembly. We're having 193 heads of state at the UN. There are only 2 female heads of state that are going to be there, because there's only 2 out of 193 that are going to be there during the month of September. We have an event that's called First Lady's Peace Event. It's only the wives of heads of state that are going to be there. And the reason for us having this is because women, they said every strong man, there's a woman behind. The woman is beside, on top, in front. The woman is all over, because the woman is the peacemaker. The woman is the one who actually carries the burden and who could understand and empathize with everything that's happening. So definitely, this is the right momentum. This is the right time. This is the right person. What is missing, or what needs to be more engaged, is us the people. We the people have to get up there. We have to get in the vote, and we have to share, gossip, but it must be about our rights to vote and to get up and get out the vote. Because they, like the lottery, if you're not in it, you can't hope to win it. So you must vote. You got to be a part of the change. If you don't vote, you're not a part of the change. And the change must come, and the change is now. You know, and I'm real excited about everyone on the line, because this is such a fantastic program. And we need like a million of this program right now. So thank you, Rosalind. Thank you for allowing me to be part of this. And big up every panelist on this, because you all are on the right track. Thank you so much. Good night, everybody.
Thank you so much, Dr. Monica, for your remarks. And you were absolutely right. We cannot be passive in a time like this with everything that we have happening. We have to get up, and we have to stand up for our rights, and we have to role model what it is we say we want to see in this world. So thank you so much for your remarks. I would ask that you and every other speaker, please drop, your info in the chat and how we can stay in touch with you. And the events that you mentioned, definitely send those to me. I'm happy to distribute to tonight's attendees. So I want to thank everyone for making the time to be here tonight, and for your energy, for your enthusiasm, and for your love. Because if you are here, it's because you love yourself and you love the community that you come from, and you're ready to take a stand. You're going to put some action behind how you feel. So thank you, everyone. God bless.
Get up, stand up. Don't give up.
Good night.
Good night. Take care,
Blessings,
everyone.
everyone.
Stand up.
Good night.
Let's do this. Let's do this again.
Get up.
We shall. We shall.
Don't give up. Fight. Most people think great God will come from the sky.
Shout out to you, Rosalind. Good night, my girl.
Good night.
Everybody feel high. But if you know what life is worth, you would look for yours on earth. And now you see the light. You stand up for your rights. Yeah. Get up, stand up. Yeah, yeah. Stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Life is your right. Get up, stand up. So we can. Yes, I just the blessing. I just the blessing. Father God blessing. Well, more blessing. I just the blessing. I just the blessing. Them can't stop me. I am blessed. I am blessed. Every day of my life I am blessed. When I wake up in the morning and I lay my head to rest. Every day of my life I am blessed. Even me say me praise God straight. Make money, money haters, fun bad mind. God knows me love woman, me father him. That's why me born. Enough of them a try stop me fly past them straight. One heap of them a wicked, so what them in a rate. You know them want back still little food from me plate, but I got over devil a hell fit them straight. I am blessed. I am blessed. Every day of my life I am blessed. When I wake up in the morning and I lay my head to rest. Every day of my life I am blessed. God bless me up, Him watch over me. So when the wicked rise, judgment feed them. For 10 years, me I make it. Someday I had to sit down, but me a tour. Hands up from your.
Good night, everyone.